The dark silence of space was shattered by an urgent signal blinking across the bridge of the human warship Defiant. Captain Mara Lenson stared at the screen, her sharp eyes narrowing as the incoming transmission resolved into a strange, shimmering figure. It was not like any species humanity had seen before. Its body seemed almost liquid, constantly shifting shapes, and its voice echoed directly inside the minds of the crew. "Humans," it said, "surrender your worlds, or face annihilation." A murmur ran through the bridge. The crew glanced at each other, unsure if this was a threat or a hallucination. But Captain Mara's jaw tightened. She had been trained for moments like this, moments when hesitation could mean the end of everything. "Identify yourself," she demanded. "State your intentions clearly. We are the Varker Dominion. We have conquered hundreds of systems. Resistance is pointless. Surrender, or all will burn." The message was calm, but it carried a weight that made the air feel heavy. Lenson leaned back in her chair, thinking fast. Humanity had never faced a threat like this, and yet, something deep inside her refused to bow. "You are speaking to humans," she replied. "We do not surrender." For a moment, there was silence. Then, the Dominion's voice returned, sharper this time, full of menace. "Then prepare for war. Your defiance will be your last mistake." The screen went black. The bridge erupted in controlled chaos. Crew members rushed to stations, fingers flying over controls, scanning the space around them for the Dominion fleet. Outside the viewport, stars stretched in long streaks, the human ship moving at full speed to intercept any threat. Lieutenant Kieran Holt, the tactical officer, studied the readings. "Captain, multiple fleets detected. They're approaching fast. Their firepower is unlike anything we've faced before." Mara nodded. "Prepare all defense systems. Shields up. Engines ready. And alert Earth Command immediately. Humanity must not be caught unprepared." The first signs of the Dominion fleet appeared as tiny pinpricks of light far away. But even from a distance, the size of the ships was terrifying. Each vessel was massive, with dark hulls that absorbed light, and weapons that glowed like molten lava. Humanity's scanners were struggling to calculate the energy signatures. "They outnumber us 10-1, whispered one of the crew. Mara did not flinch. "Numbers mean nothing if we fight smart. Target the command ship. Hit it first. Hit it hard." As the crew carried out her orders, a sudden jolt rocked the ship. Warning alarms blared. Mara grabbed the console. "Report. Incoming attack," Holt shouted. "A strike team is moving directly at our hull. They're entering our defenses." Before anyone could react, a beam of energy struck the human ship's shields. Sparks flew across consoles. The ship shuddered violently, throwing crew members against walls. Mara held herself steady, her voice cutting through the alarms. "Focus fire on their leader. We hold, or we die trying." The bridge shook again, but the human crew fought back, every weapon firing, every maneuver executed with precision. Slowly, painfully, the Dominion's lead ships began to falter under human tactics. Mara watched as one of their massive vessels exploded in a brilliant flash, scattering fragments across the dark void. But victory was far from certain. More Dominion ships moved in, more attacks came. The crew worked in perfect sync, every member knowing the stakes. They had no choice. Humanity's survival depended on their skill, their courage, and the refusal to surrender. "Captain," Holt said, voice tight with tension. "Their fleet. It's adapting. They're predicting our moves before we make them." Mara clenched her fists. "Then we change the rules. Initiate the Phantom Protocol. They won't know what hit them." A low hum began beneath the floor, the ship vibrating as hidden systems came online. The crew felt it in their bones. Humanity had weapons and strategies that no one in the Dominion could anticipate. Secrets kept for centuries, waiting for a moment like this. Outside, the Dominion ships were closing in, glowing red in the darkness. Inside, every human aboard the Defiant knew one thing: Surrender was not an option. They would fight. They would endure. And they would show the galaxy that humanity was not to be taken lightly. The first clash of firepower lit up space, brilliant flashes against the black canvas of stars. The battle had begun. And for humanity, there would be no turning back. The Defiant shuddered under the Dominion assault, yet Captain Mara Lenson stood firm on the bridge, her eyes locked on the approaching enemy fleet. Every ship, every weapon, seemed to move with terrifying precision. This was no ordinary foe. They fought with cold calculation, as if they knew humanity's every thought before it happened. Lieutenant Kieran Holt's hands flew over the tactical console. "Captain, their formation is changing again. It's like they are learning from us with every move." Mara nodded slowly, her mind racing. "Good. Let them learn. But we'll teach them a lesson they'll never forget." Outside, space had become a battlefield of fire and energy. Beams struck the Defiant's shields with thunderous impact. Sparks showered the bridge as warning lights flashed relentlessly. Crew members gritted their teeth, their hearts pounding, but they did not falter. Every human aboard this ship had trained for years for this moment. And now, that training would be tested against an enemy unlike any before. "Captain," one of the engineers called out, "shields at 70%. Another strike like that, and we—" "Hold." Mara's voice cut sharply through the alarm. "Divert all power to the forward shields. We keep our hull intact. Nothing gets through." Holt's fingers danced over the controls, rerouting power. The hum of energy flowing through the ship grew louder, and the Defiant braced itself. Outside, the Dominion ships pulsed with deadly intent, their weapons charging for another strike. "Incoming!" a voice shouted, just as the first beams slammed into the newly strengthened shields. The ship groaned, but it held. Mara's eyes glimmered with determination. "Good. Now hit them back." Human weapons flared in retaliation. Missiles streaked through space, plasma beams cut through the void, and explosions erupted in fiery blossoms across the Dominion fleet. One of the enemy's larger ships wobbled, sparks trailing from its hull. It was a small victory, but enough to remind the crew that humanity could fight, and win. "Captain," Holt said, tension thick in his voice, "their leader, it's reacting. Adjusting faster than we predicted. They're almost anticipating us again." Mara's jaw tightened. "Then we stop predicting. We fight unpredictable. Phantom maneuvers. All systems, go silent. Let them think we're panicking." The crew followed her orders. Lights dimmed, engines whispered instead of roared, and weapons fired from hidden angles. It was chaos, but calculated chaos, the kind only humans could master under pressure. The Dominion ships faltered, their formations breaking as confusion rippled through their fleet. But the Dominion did not retreat. They adapted quickly, and Mara could feel the tension rise like a storm. "We need more than tricks," she muttered. "We need a message they'll never forget." From deep within the Defiant, the engineers activated a secret weapon, one humanity had hidden for decades. The ship vibrated as a strange energy pulse began to build. No human had seen it fully in action, but legends of its power were whispered in command halls across Earth. "What is that?" Holt asked, eyes wide. "Something they will regret ever challenging us," Mara replied, her lips tight with determination. "Brace yourselves." Outside, the Dominion fleet pressed forward, oblivious to what was coming. Beams of energy sliced through space, striking the Defiant, but the pulse inside the ship grew stronger. The hum of power became a roar, a force that seemed almost alive. "Now!" Mara shouted. The pulse shot outward, a wave of blinding energy that tore through the Dominion fleet. Ships were ripped apart, their forms scattering like shards of glass. Alarms screamed as surviving vessels struggled to regain control, but the humans were relentless. The Defiant moved with speed and precision, striking weak points, avoiding retaliation, and exploiting every mistake the enemy made. "They're falling back," one of the gunners yelled. "Their formation is breaking." Mara allowed herself a small nod, though her eyes remained sharp. "Not yet," she said. Push them further. Show them humanity is not weak. The battle raged for hours, but the humans refused to surrender. Every explosion, every maneuver, every calculated strike reminded the Dominion of one undeniable fact: they had underestimated humanity. Finally, the Dominion commander's voice echoed again, distorted and angry. Impossible. Humans cannot survive. Mara stood taller. We survive because we fight. And we fight because we refuse to bow. The enemy retreated, but Mara knew it was only temporary. The Dominion would regroup, stronger and more determined. Humanity had won this battle, but the war had just begun. And in that dark, vast emptiness of space, Mara and her crew vowed silently. They would fight for every world, for every life, and for every inch of humanity's freedom. The Defiant floated among the stars, battered but unbroken. Outside, fragments of enemy ships glimmered like fireflies. Inside, humans prepared for the next wave. And somewhere deep in the cosmos, the Dominion learned that humanity's spirit was not something to conquer, it was something to fear. The Defiant drifted among the scattered wreckage of the Dominion fleet, its hull scratched but intact. Captain Mara Lenson's eyes scanned the dark void, alert for any signs of returning enemies. Space was silent for a brief moment, but Mara knew it was only a pause before the storm returned. "Captain, sensors are picking up something unusual," Lieutenant Holt said, his fingers trembling slightly as he traced the readings on the screen. "Show me," Mara commanded, leaning forward. The display shifted, revealing a massive structure moving through the darkness. It was unlike any ship humanity had seen, an enormous fortress, almost alive, its hull pulsing with energy like a heartbeat. The Dominion had brought their hidden weapon, and it was heading straight for them. "That's no ordinary ship," Holt whispered. "It's enormous. And it's war-ready." Mara felt a chill run down her spine, but she did not show it. "Prepare all stations. Alert Earth Command. They need to know what's coming." The crew moved with trained precision. Every gun was manned, shields reinforced, engines readied for evasive maneuvers. But Mara knew this would not be a simple fight. The Dominion was desperate, and desperate enemies were the deadliest. "Captain," one of the officers said, pointing at the screen, "it's deploying smaller ships. Hundreds of them. They're swarming toward us." The viewports filled with glowing silhouettes, a massive swarm moving in perfect coordination. Mara clenched her fists. Targets locked. Engage the swarm. We hold or die here, but we will not surrender. The Defiant surged forward, firing missiles and energy beams at the incoming ships. Explosions lit up the darkness, bright flashes reflecting in the crew's wide eyes. Every strike was precise, every maneuver deliberate, but the swarm was relentless. Ships crashed against each other, some exploding, some slipping past the human defenses. "Captain," Holt shouted, "they're too many. Shields at 50%. Mara did not panic. "Use the Phantom Protocol again. Hit them where they least expect it." The crew followed her orders. Engines whispered instead of roared, and hidden weapons fired from unpredictable angles. Chaos became a weapon, confusing the swarm, forcing them to scatter. For a moment, the Defiant gained ground. But then the massive fortress itself loomed closer, a dark monolith of power. Its weapons glowed red, beams of energy slicing the void toward the human ship. Mara gritted her teeth. "Divert all firepower to intercept. Nothing hits the hull." Explosions rocked the bridge as beams struck the shields. Sparks flew, and alarms blared. The crew fought like lions, every strike countered, every evasive move calculated. Mara's eyes burned with focus. She knew this was a battle not just for survival, but for the soul of humanity itself. "They're targeting the engines," a gunner yelled. "We could be trapped." "Not while I'm here," Mara replied, her voice steady. "Full power to aft shields. Fire everything we've got at that fortress." Missiles launched, energy beams streaked across the void, and the massive ship shuddered under the human assault. Sparks and debris flew, but the fortress remained, almost mocking the Defiant. The Dominion's voice echoed in their minds again, this time tinged with rage. Humans, you will regret defiance. Mara's jaw tightened. We regret nothing. And we fight for everything. A sudden jolt threw crew members to the floor. The fortress had fired a hidden weapon, a wave of energy that slammed into the Defiant's shields. Consoles flickered, and smoke filled the air. Crew members coughed but scrambled back to stations. We can't hold them off for long. Holt shouted, panic creeping into his voice. We won't have to, Mara said, her mind working faster than ever. Engage the secret weapon. Full power. They will learn that humans are not to be underestimated. From deep within the Defiant, a hidden chamber opened. Energy surged, pulsing like a living thing. Mara could feel the power through the floor, through her bones. It was humanity's ultimate secret, built for moments exactly like this. Captain, it's ready, the engineer said. Mara nodded. Fire. A massive wave of energy shot out from the Defiant, striking the fortress. The alien ship convulsed, sparks and fire exploding across its surface. Smaller ships scattered, thrown into disarray. The Dominion commander's voice screamed with fury, echoing in every mind aboard the human ship. Impossible. Humans cannot endure. Mara stood tall, eyes fixed on the chaos outside. We endure. We fight. And we will never surrender. The Dominion fleet faltered, their fortress damaged and their smaller ships in retreat. But Mara knew better than to celebrate. This was only the beginning. The Dominion would return, stronger, smarter, and more dangerous. Humanity had won this day, but the war for survival had just entered a new, deadlier stage. As the Defiant floated among the debris of battle, Mara looked at her crew. Every face was smeared with sweat and grime, but determination shone in their eyes. They were humans. They were warriors. And the galaxy would soon learn that demanding humanity's surrender came with a price far greater than anyone could imagine. The debris of the Dominion fleet drifted silently through the void, a testament to the human ship Defiant's ferocity. But Captain Mara Lenson knew the battle was far from over. The Dominion was not an enemy to surrender easily. They would return, stronger and deadlier. Captain, Lieutenant Holt said, staring at the sensors, we're detecting movement. Another fleet, approaching from the far side. They must have hidden forces. We can't predict their numbers. Mara's hands tightened on the railing. Her mind raced. Humanity had fought hard, but now the enemy was escalating. Divert all power to long-range scanners. Every ship, every system. We need to know what we face before they see us. The crew worked with precision, adjusting shields, firing secondary sensors, and running simulations. Outside, stars glimmered coldly, unaware of the war unfolding among them. Captain, the communications officer said, voice trembling, they're sending a message. It's different this time. It's not just a threat, it's a warning. Mara leaned forward. The Dominion's message crackled in her mind, you have destroyed what you cannot understand. Leave this sector, or all will be lost. Your defiance has consequences beyond your comprehension. Consequences? Mara muttered. We've already faced your worst. And we survived. Holt shook his head. Captain, this is bigger than we thought. Their fleet, it's not just ships. They're moving planets. Entire planetary systems are being deployed as weapons. Mara's eyes widened slightly. Humanity had seen war before, but never on this scale. Entire worlds used as instruments of destruction. And yet, she felt something deep inside, the stubborn, burning core of human defiance. Prepare for evacuation if necessary, she said. But we fight. We will not bow to fear. As the Defiant maneuvered through the growing threat, Mara noticed something strange on the outer sensors, a faint energy signal, almost like a heartbeat, coming from a nearby asteroid belt. Holt, trace it. I want to know what's there. The crew scrambled, adjusting scanners and analyzing readings. The energy signature grew stronger, pulsing rhythmically. Suddenly, the asteroid belt began to shift, revealing something massive hidden within, a ship buried for centuries, older than any human record, but unmistakably human in design. "Captain, it's a human vessel," Holt whispered, awe in his voice. "But this ship, it shouldn't exist. It's ancient, lost to history." Mara's heart raced. "Prepare a boarding team. If it's functional, we take it. It could change everything." The crew suited up, tension thick in the air. Mara led the team herself, boarding shuttle shields flickering as they approached the mysterious vessel. The closer they got, the more details emerged. The ship was massive, with hull plating unlike any modern design, strange markings etched into every surface, and engines that seemed dormant but alive. Inside, the air was still, untouched by time. The halls were dark, lined with strange consoles and cryptic symbols. Mara's flashlight cut through the gloom as she and her team moved cautiously, aware that any wrong step could trigger hidden defenses. "Captain, over here," one of the engineers called. He pointed to the bridge. It was intact, as if frozen in time. The controls flickered to life as they approached, responding to human touch. Mara's eyes widened. "This is incredible. Whoever built this, they knew what humanity would need." Suddenly, alarms blared. Red lights flashed across the deck. A holographic projection appeared, depicting a map of the Dominion fleet and their movements across nearby systems. The ship had recorded everything, hidden for centuries, waiting for humans to find it. This could turn the tide," Holt whispered. "The Dominion, they won't expect it." Mara nodded, a determined smile forming. "We don't just survive. We fight back. And with this, humanity will show them they underestimated us at their own peril." As they prepared to pilot the ancient vessel back to the Defiant, Mara couldn't shake the feeling that the Dominion's warning carried truth. This war was bigger than any human had imagined. Yet, one thing was certain: humanity would never surrender. Not now. Not ever. Outside, the stars stretched endlessly, the galaxy holding its breath. And somewhere, far away, the Dominion realized their defiance had awakened a force they could not predict: the unstoppable ingenuity and courage of humankind. The shuttle engines ignited, carrying Mara and her team into the unknown. They were about to unleash a power the galaxy had forgotten, a secret of humanity's past that could determine the future of every star system. And for the first time in centuries, the humans held the advantage. The ancient human vessel, hidden for centuries, glided silently beside the Defiant. Its engines hummed with power, unlike anything the modern crew had seen. Captain Mara Lenson watched as the dormant ship awoke, lights flickering across its massive hull, weapon systems initializing. Humanity's hidden legacy was alive again, ready to fight. "Captain," Lieutenant Holt said, his voice tense with awe. "This ship, it's like nothing we've ever encountered. It could take down an entire Dominion fleet on its own." Mara nodded. "Then we use it wisely. Target their command structure first. Hit fast, hit hard. Show them humans are not to be trifled with." The Dominion fleet loomed on the sensors, vast and organized. Thousands of ships, moving with deadly precision, preparing to strike at humanity's heart. But they had no idea the Defiant and the ancient vessel were ready. "Captain," the tactical officer reported, "they're moving to encircle us. If we don't act now, we'll be trapped." Mara's eyes narrowed. "Then we break the circle. Full power to the ancient ship's main weapons. Fire, on my mark." The bridge crew held their breath. Outside, space seemed to stretch endlessly, the Dominion fleet shimmering like a storm about to crash. Mara pressed a button, her hand steady. Fire. A pulse of energy shot from the ancient vessel, carving through the Dominion ships. Explosions erupted across their formations, throwing their fleets into chaos. Smaller ships were ripped apart, and even the larger vessels staggered under the force. The Dominion had never faced weapons like this. "Incredible!" Holt shouted. "They can't keep up with us." Mara didn't smile. There was no time for celebration. The Dominion would adapt. They always did. Prepare the Defiant for a flanking maneuver. Keep them distracted. We'll finish them with everything the ancient ship has. The human ships moved with speed and precision. Missiles streaked through the void, energy beams slashed across the darkness, and the Dominion fleet struggled to respond. One by one, their vessels fell, sparks and fire trailing behind them. "Captain," the communications officer said, "their commander, it's contacting us directly. They want to negotiate." Mara frowned. "Put it through." The Dominion's voice echoed, cold and strained. "Humans, you have power we did not expect. Surrender, and we may spare your world." Mara's eyes burned with defiance. "Surrender? You should have thought of that before attacking us. Humanity does not bow. Humanity does not surrender. And humanity never forgets." The Dominion commander hissed through the comms. "Then you leave us no choice." The transmission cut off, replaced by an even larger wave of attack. Ships surged forward, weapons blazing, determined to crush humanity once and for all. But Mara was ready. "All units, form wedge formation. Ancient ship leads. We hit their flanks. Disrupt their formation completely," she ordered. The Defiant and the ancient vessel surged forward, moving like predators in the void. Energy beams tore through Dominion ships, missiles struck critical points, and the fleet began to crumble. Every human aboard felt the thrill of battle, the focus of survival, and the pride of fighting not for conquest, but for freedom. Holt's voice rang out. "Captain, we're pushing them back. Entire formations collapsing." "Good," Mara said. "But stay sharp. This is far from over." The Dominion fleet had underestimated humanity, and now they were paying the price. The ancient vessel moved with precision, its hidden weapons tearing through enemy lines. Sparks and debris filled space, the chaos like a deadly ballet. "Captain," a gunner shouted, "one of their command ships is exposed. We can finish it." Mara's hand tightened around the console. "Do it. Hit it with everything. Show them humans are not just survivors, we are hunters." The ship unleashed a devastating salvo. Explosions engulfed the Dominion command vessel. It disintegrated in a blinding flash, the shockwaves scattering nearby ships. The remaining fleet faltered, some retreating, others destroyed in panic. Silence returned to the battlefield, broken only by the hum of human engines and distant drifting wreckage. Mara looked at her crew, faces smeared with sweat and determination. They had won, but she knew this victory was only the beginning. The Dominion would return, and the galaxy would never be the same. "Prepare for repairs and resupply," Mara ordered. "We've won today, but the war is just beginning. Humanity will fight, and humanity will endure." As the Defiant and the ancient vessel moved through the remnants of the Dominion fleet, Mara allowed herself a brief moment of pride. They had turned the tide of the battle, but more challenges awaited. The galaxy was vast, the Dominion relentless, and humanity unstoppable. The victory of the human fleet was still fresh, but Captain Mara Lenson knew it was only temporary. Across the void, the Dominion was regrouping, their fury deeper than ever. The ancient human vessel had shattered their command, but now they had a plan, a weapon of unimaginable destruction. "Captain," Lieutenant Holt said, staring at the sensor readings in disbelief, "the Dominion, they're activating something massive. It's moving fast. I can't even describe it." Mara leaned forward, her heart tightening. The readings revealed a colossal ship, unlike anything she had ever seen. It was a fortress on an unimaginable scale, larger than entire moons, and bristling with energy weapons that could annihilate entire fleets. "They think scaring us will make us surrender," Mara muttered. "They are about to learn humans fear nothing." The Defiant and the ancient vessel adjusted formation, preparing for the inevitable clash. Mara activated the tactical screens, plotting intercepts and evasive maneuvers. Every crew member worked with grim determination. Humanity had faced the impossible before, and now, the impossible was coming again. "Captain," the communications officer called. "Incoming transmission from the Dominion commander. They want to speak." One last time before deployment. Mara pressed the speaker. The Dominion commander's voice rang, cold and resonant, echoing through the bridge. Humans, you amuse us. Your defiance is entertaining, but you cannot withstand our ultimate weapon. Surrender now, or witness your annihilation. Mara's eyes burned with defiance. We do not surrender. Humanity will fight, and humanity will survive. You underestimated us once. You will regret underestimating us again. The transmission ended. Silence fell for a heartbeat before the Dominion's colossal ship unleashed its first wave. Energy beams streaked across space, vaporizing smaller vessels instantly. Meteoroid-sized projectiles slammed into the fleet, sending explosions across the battlefield. Shields at 40%. Holt shouted. We won't last long under this. We will last as long as we must. Mara roared. Ancient vessel, engage all weapons. Target the weapon nodes on that ship. Hit every weak point you see. The ancient ship responded, its engines humming with a deep, almost alive energy. It moved like a predator, weaving through beams and debris, firing volleys of energy and missiles that struck with deadly precision. Dominion ships crumbled under the assault, but the massive superweapon remained nearly untouched, a dark shadow looming over the battlefield. They're adapting, one of the gunners shouted. Every strike we make, it shields faster than we hit it. Mara clenched her fists. Then we changed tactics. Phantom maneuvers, feints, distractions. Make them overextend. They cannot adapt to human unpredictability. The Defiant executed daring maneuvers, weaving between enemy fire, drawing attacks and creating openings. The ancient vessel followed Mara's lead, unleashing concentrated strikes at weak points discovered during the feints. Slowly, cracks appeared in the Dominion's defenses. Captain, Holt called, awe and tension mixed in his voice. We're breaking through. Their shields are weakening. Mara allowed herself a brief smile, but she knew the fight was far from over. Push harder. Every ship, every weapon. Fire everything. Humanity does not retreat. Explosions erupted across the Dominion fleet. The colossal ship faltered, its weapons systems sparking and failing under relentless assault. The smaller vessels panicked, disorganized without central command. Humanity's ingenuity, courage, and stubborn defiance were turning the tide of war. Captain, Holt said, voice trembling. Their command ship, it's about to explode. Mara nodded, her eyes unwavering. Let it burn. Let them see what happens when humans fight for survival. The explosion lit the void like a supernova. Shockwaves rippled across space, throwing debris and damaged ships into chaos. Dominion forces scattered, some fleeing, some destroyed, and the galaxy trembled at the scale of destruction. As silence returned, Mara allowed herself a long, deep breath. The battle was won, for now. But she knew the Dominion would not give up. They would return, perhaps with something even deadlier. Humanity had survived today, but the war for freedom was far from over. Prepare for repairs, Mara said to her crew. We've held our ground, but this is only the beginning. The galaxy is watching. And humanity will not bow. The ancient vessel's engines hummed beside the Defiant, alive and powerful, a symbol of humanity's resilience and ingenuity. Mara looked at the stars, the vast darkness stretching endlessly before them. Somewhere out there, enemies plotted. But humanity had awakened a force they could not predict. And one thing was certain, the galaxy had learned the hardest lesson of all: never demand humanity's surrender. The galaxy trembled in the darkness as the Dominion's ultimate weapon approached, its colossal hull pulsing with deadly energy. Captain Mara Lenson stood on the bridge of the Defiant, eyes blazing, heart steady. Across the void, the ancient human vessel thrummed with power, a silent promise that humanity would not surrender. Captain, Lieutenant Holt said, voice tight, they're fully deployed now. Every weapon, every ship, they've concentrated everything for this final strike. Mara's jaw clenched. Then we give them a fight they will never forget. Humanity does not cower. Humanity does not surrender. Humanity fights. The Dominion's superweapon unleashed its first salvo. Beams of pure energy tore across space, vaporizing small ships instantly. Shockwaves rippled through the fleet, throwing human vessels off course. Sparks flew across the bridge as consoles glitched from the intense energy. "Shields holding barely," Holt reported, panic rising. "We can't withstand another hit like that." Mara's eyes narrowed. "We won't. Not by enduring alone. The ancient ship, deploy everything. Every hidden weapon, every secret system. Hit their weak points, aim for the core." The ancient vessel responded, awakening like a sleeping giant. Its weapons glowed, massive energy cannons charging, targeting the Dominion superweapon. The hum of its engines filled the void, and the humans felt an unstoppable force surge beneath their feet. "All ships, follow my lead. Distract, divide, and strike. We hit as one," Mara commanded. The human fleet moved with precision, weaving between deadly beams and missiles. The Dominion ships fired relentlessly, but every move was anticipated by humans who fought not just with technology, but with cunning, instinct, and courage. "Captain, the core. It's exposed for a brief moment," Holt shouted, eyes wide. Mara's hand flew over the controls. "Fire everything now. Do not hesitate." Energy beams, missiles, and plasma shots converged on the core. The Dominion superweapon shuddered violently, sparks and flames erupting across its hull. The smaller ships wavered, thrown into chaos without central control. Humanity's ingenuity and unyielding spirit had found the perfect moment. "Incoming counterattack," one of the gunners yelled, as surviving Dominion vessels launched a desperate strike. "Let them come," Mara said, voice steady. "We are humanity. We endure. We strike back." The Defiant and the ancient vessel moved like predators, weaving between firestorms, striking with precision. Explosions tore through the enemy fleet, shockwaves scattering debris across the void. The Dominion commander's voice echoed, strained and furious. "Impossible. Humans cannot destroy us." "Watch us," Mara whispered. With a final surge, the ancient vessel fired its ultimate weapon, a beam of concentrated energy so bright it turned space into a blinding light. The Dominion superweapon exploded in a colossal flash, ripping apart its hull and scattering the remaining ships into nothingness. The shockwave rolled through the battlefield, shaking every ship, but the human fleet held firm. Silence returned to space, broken only by the hum of the ancient vessel and the Defiant's engines. The Dominion was defeated, not just in firepower, but in spirit. Humanity had shown the galaxy that it would never surrender, no matter the enemy, no matter the odds. Mara stood on the bridge, looking at the stars. The crew around her were exhausted, battered, but alive. Determination shone in their eyes, the same determination that had driven humans across centuries of conflict. "Captain," Holt said, voice trembling with relief. We did it. The Dominion. They're gone." Mara allowed herself a slow, satisfied nod. "Gone for now. But humanity remains. We survived. We fought. And the galaxy will remember this day." Outside, stars stretched endlessly, the wreckage of the Dominion fleet floating like cold fireflies in the void. But for the first time in centuries, humans had proven they were not to be underestimated. The ancient vessel hummed beside the Defiant, alive, powerful, a reminder of humanity's hidden strength. Mara turned to her crew. "We've won a great battle, but the war is never truly over. Humanity will always be ready, always vigilant. We fight for every star, every world, every life. And we will always win, because we never surrender." The crew cheered, but their celebration was quiet, respectful of the lives lost, and mindful of the battles yet to come. The galaxy had learned a lesson that day, a lesson carved in fire, courage, and unbreakable will. Somewhere in the darkness, scattered Dominion remnants might still plot revenge, but the humans had sent a clear message: never demand humanity's surrender. The Defiant and the ancient vessel moved together through the endless expanse of stars, warriors of a species that refused to bow. And in every heartbeat of those ships, in every pulse of energy and determination, the galaxy understood something new. Humanity was unstoppable. For Captain Mara Lenson, and for all of humanity, the war had been hard, the price high, but the victory eternal. And in the silent reaches of space, one truth shone brighter than any star: humanity would always fight, and humanity would always endure.